Blog Talk Radio.
From Winston-Salem, it's Sunday Night Dead.
Sunday Night Dead. This is Matthew Slozer from Autumn Moon Paranormal here in beautiful Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Finally being like spring here. We had a gorgeous weekend. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for closing it out with us this evening. We got a great show lined up. Basically, Sharon Coyle with Rolling Hills. The show was, there was so much interest and so much discussion going on from that show that we ran out of time. So this is going to be Rolling Hills Part 2. And then also on the anniversary of Roy's passing, Roy, one of the patients at Rolling Hills who had gigantism, and if you've seen on some of the shows, and actually on the Rolling Hills site, they have some interesting pictures of that appear to be Roy. George did a show Thursday during the day where they did a live Frank's Box session at Rolling Hills with Sharon and Mark O'Connor, who I believe is also going to be calling in this evening, and just some really, really interesting things from that. So we have some clips from that. as well as some clips that Sharon sent in last week that we didn't get a chance to cover. So, as I always suggest, you can usually hear these anyway, but always easier with headphones. So for the audio clips, if you have headphones handy, please go ahead and grab them. And if you would also like to call in and join us tonight, the number is 646-929-2384. And I'm hearing that chat is doing a real, chat's being real problematic again. So we've done this like 3 weeks in a row. But preemptive strike here we go. Again, don't know why that works. As we've known, this has been a constant drama here, but the orbs don't like me. So we have I've found that if I give them a little time to go ahead and badmouth me, it'll be easy. But I also wanted to add here that today's kind of a special day for me. It's been 1 year. Not exactly by dates, but if you take it by Sundays, today is the 1 year anniversary of me being on Dead Air on Sunday nights. And so, again, I just want to thank the whole Dead Air family, and particularly George Lopez, for the opportunity to do this. It is a blast. I really, really enjoy it. And now, without any delay, let's see who we have with us this evening. Sunday Night Dead, who am I speaking to? Area code 856?
This is John Cog. How you doing?
Hey, man, how are you?
Congratulations on your 1 year of being on the show. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Is the plague over up there in New Jersey?
Oh, yeah. Everybody's healthy again. The weather's beautiful. Everybody's getting ready for some ghost hunts. And all the colds and hurricanes and nasty weather's all moved on.
Awesome. We go to, I did St. Albans 3 weeks ago, and we're still kind of, I've reviewed everything. I'm just kind of cutting it down now. And we go to Trans-Allegheny next week, so should be pretty interesting, although I do that one several times a year, so should be very interesting. Let's see who else we have here. This might be Sharon. Let's see. Sunday Night Dead.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Hey, Sharon. How are you?
Good. Congratulations on your 1 year. I didn't know that.
Thank you. Actually, I knew it was in April, and then I was just going back through some things. I said, oh, wow, it's actually this week. So, yeah, it's absolutely flown, and I've had a blast. Sunday Night Dead has only been on since August, but I've been on Sunday nights since April 15th. So, yeah, it's
Very
been a
cool.
lot of fun. I've really, really enjoyed it and been able to meet some great people. So, and thank everyone out there that has faithfully listened, because we have a pretty good, and it appears to be at least pretty stable base of listeners out there. So I really appreciate people who tune in and listen. So how's your week been?
Good, except I'm sick. I got whatever New Jersey just got rid of. I have.
Oh, no.
Hey, John, I haven't met you, but I don't like you already because you gave me your sickness.
I feel like I've been hanging out with Sharon all weekend because I saw Ghost Adventures on Friday night.
Oh, gosh, really?
And I'm talking to her tonight, so I'm spending the weekend with Sharon here.
Yay!
I have to say, I was joking around with George just a little while ago. I think I've been, well, now my kids are getting pretty old now. They're 14, and then the quadruplets are 12. But I've been sick more since I've had kids, and I think my whole entire life prior to having kids. I mean, they just are constantly bringing back funky things. And
Wait. Back the horse up. Quadruplets? You have quadruplets?
Yes, I have quadruplets.
Holy God almighty, man. How do you do it?
You just do it, and I gotta say, in some respects, kind of ignorance is bliss. It would be much harder if you'd have to repeat it. You know what's coming, but at the time you just figure out a way to make it work. And I mean, now they're old enough. Now it's more kind of that preteen, middle school BS that you got to deal with. But they're all really good kids, and one of them is very interested in this and is still dying to go along on some of these things, which, she's got to wait a little while. She's too young to do it yet. But I did have her go on a daytime one at one location. It was very, very interesting. She was almost like a trigger object. It was kind of nothing ominous, but it was really kind of weird how active it was. So.
And how old are they?
I'm sorry?
How old are they?
The quadruplets are 12, and then I have a 14-year-old daughter.
Wow. Yeah, God bless you, man. I can't even take care of myself. I won't have any kids.
So I'm perpetually sleep deprived and just and then they bring all these funky things home. So we kind of have constant plagues going on here in the house as well. But so anything we're going to get into. What I want to do is before we get into what happened on Thursday, I did want to get back and cover the audio that you sent in because it was really, really good. That we covered on, or that we wanted to cover last week. But before that, I just wanted to see, Sharon, anything outside of Thursday's event, anything interesting happen after the show or, in the past week at Rolling Hills?
I started getting sick during the show. I don't know what it came on, but I got sick during the show. I could feel it. So I'm a little out of it. I've been just trying to get through the last couple of days in the building till 4 a.m. in the freezing cold. So I kind of hunkered in the green room and didn't really go out very much. But the teams that were here seemed to be having some really good activity. I mean, like really good stuff. They were having a lot of activity down the morgue. Last week there was a group out of Staten Island that came up, and one of the ladies spoke pretty fluent Italian. And every time she spoke Italian, the student would turn and face her. They were just getting a lot of just really strong activity. One of the guys had never had a personal experience, never heard anything with his ears, never been touched, nothing, and he was hearing stuff on the tour, and then, of course, when he was investigating, so he was all thrilled. So, but I didn't go out at all. I was just, like, hunkered in, wrapped up in blankets in the green room. That's awful. I had the experience once, and I was actually helping take a group through a location, and my whole family, this was about 2 years ago, we had, again, talking about bugs running through the family. Everybody in our family ended up getting either pneumonia or bronchitis, and I was at the tail end of it, and it happened to hit me in a location. It was like 40 degrees, and I'm actually kind of leading people around, and as the night's going on, my voice is failing, and coughing a little bit, which obviously kills your audio. But anyway, it was interesting. Well, I want to dive right into this, and again, anyone in the chat, and I apologize, I'm not sure what's going on. This is like 3 weeks in a row now where I'm seeing that people are having a heck of a time getting into chat. So, yeah, I can't get in either. I can't even get it to come up.
Not sure what's going on, and I just see in the chat that they're saying the audio. Can I get confirmation from multiple people if you're having trouble hearing me right now? I'm getting some audio comments in the chat here, so is everything sounding okay on my end? So if there's anything going on there, please let me know. But the first one I have here, Sharon, is just going to scroll through them, help you set them up.
I don't have my list in front of me from last week.
No problem.
Oh, here it is. I got it now. I find it.
I'd say hopefully there's enough here to help you out. And just comment here to John. I think the orbs are very pissed this last couple weeks here. So this one is Find Sharon.
Right. Do you want me to set it up?
Yeah, set up. Where was this? What was kind of going on?
Okay, I wasn't in the room. It was a group of people from New England that I know very well that came down, and they were up in George's room, and there was some stuff going on up there, and it was making them uneasy. They were getting some weird things coming through the spirit box and weird activity, and at one point they got the CBT, and someone was telling them to go find me because the spirits were concerned too with whatever was going on.
Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, I'm going to turn it up a little bit Again, I always got to kind of play around with the volume here, guys, so just always appreciate feedback from the chat room as well. Also, quick add that I'm seeing from the chat that people refreshing seem to be having a better chance. So if you're having trouble with the chat and you can hear me, try refreshing and seeing if that works. Here we go again. Okay, it's really quick. I'm going to do it like 3 in a row here. All right. Well, I can definitely hear it. It's interesting. That's kind of a whispering. So what was going on again that they were concerned and wanted them to get you?
There was just some weird activity going on there, getting some weird responses on the line of questioning. That it was the night actually that we discussed. Well, going all over the place here. We ended up having an attachment brought in by one of the investigators, which happened to be in this group, but we didn't know that at that time. Weird stuff started happening. Some of the investigators were getting sick. A couple had to leave the building, literally go back to the hotel because they were getting so sick. One of them was a very strong medium. And not until a couple of days later when I called George, and he and I did another spirit box session with my friend Sandy McLeod down in the second floor east wing, did we discover that someone was brought in with one of the investigators and was causing some trouble.
Oh, wow. Wow. Now, did that, and so it was brought in with the investigator and it stayed with at the site then?
Yeah, until we did that spirit box session with George, and then George had Amanda, Colette, Michael, and Gabriel come and had me rally all my spirits, and then everyone kind of pushed them out. We actually did a whole show on it, or part of a show on it. We talked about it at least on the show. And
okay,
yeah, you know which one I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember, I think we were talking a little bit about that incident last week a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really interesting. I mean, she didn't mean to bring it in with her. You know, it wasn't like, it was, you know, she was trying to bring in spirits with her, but it just happened to come from another location that they came from. And I think what it was, honestly, and this is a good point to make to investigators, and I used to do the same thing. I'm guilty of it. You try to cram in too many investigations back to back to back to back to back and not get enough sleep in between. And this is what happened. The group came up from New England, stopped, drove like 8 hours, stopped at a location, spent the night, did the investigation, drove another 4 or 5, 6 hours to me, and tried to do another investigation on, like, practicing those 3, and you just can't do that because then you're opening yourself up to problems like this where you're going to get attachments and you're going to bring them into other locations.
Yeah, I totally understand. John, have you ever had any issues with that?
With
something from one investigation kind of flowing over into another?
No, I've never had that experience. I did have a thing I was curious about. Maybe you guys could answer it. Have you guys ever had a situation where you've done an investigation somewhere and you felt like after you left that something is affecting the place you were at rather than affecting you? Because maybe the spirit couldn't affect you or come home with you. Instead, it's trying to affect like the people around you, like at a location. Does that make any sense?
Like at the location you were at?
Like my team did a nursing home, and it's a functional nursing home. And we did the investigation, and then afterwards, I've gone back as I work in this nursing home from time to time. It seems like there's a different atmosphere in the location. Like I've noticed, like people have quit. I noticed like some people have been sick, and it just seems like people are snipping. I always wonder to myself, is this just like a movie script, or does it just seem like maybe the spirits are saying, hey, I can't get to you because, you protected yourself, but I can make the people around you miserable. Have you guys ever noticed anything like that or had run into that?
Sharon, how about you?
Well, I've heard of things like that happening where they've made, I've heard of things happening. I can't give you any specifics right now because I can't think of a specific incident, but I know I've heard of things like that happening.
I mean, like especially at Rolling Hills. I mean, I know like you probably protect yourself when you walk around, but have you ever noticed like some of your workers or the people who give the tours and stuff, do they seem to, like, does the building seem to affect like them, or seem to change around rather than getting to them personally, but around them?
No, not my volunteers. I know. I'm trying to think of a scenario I can relate to without divulging anybody's information. That's what I'm trying to sit here and scratch my head about.
Yeah.
I know. I have a friend who used to be a liaison for another location, and it was on different coast. And she'd go up there all the time. And it would affect her. The location would affect her dramatically. Her home, you would come home with her, and more spirits would be in her home, and it would affect her home, herself, her family, her husband. I mean, I've seen it happen in that regard. At my own location, I don't have any, knock on wood, whoever is looking out for me, Roy, or whoever else, whatever higher power there is, I don't have any problems, like that with me. Thank God. Because honestly, I know I had people when I was first talking about buying this place, mediums and things like that, really concerned. Say, you're living in a haunted location. It's gonna, you're gonna have this, and this happen to you. Here I am sitting here with the flu. Do not say anything. But I was making a joke just to laugh. You got me sick?
You actually broke up when you were saying it, so actually I apologize.
Sorry.
I missed it. So.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I've had other people have incidences like that before. Definitely.
I have not had anything location to location. I've mentioned on here before, for whatever reason, it just could be my own self mentally. I've had very strange dreams related to locations prior to going to locations and after being at locations. And I had, for whatever reason, it seems to have toned down now, but we moved into our house December of 2011, and for a while we've had some very strange things happen here, all the way up until probably about like January, February. The last couple months it's been quiet, but I always have the kind of question here, was it, because we have nothing historical with the house, but is it something with the house, or is there something hanging around me?
But it could be anything. If you buy anything at an antique store or a thrift store or an auction, it could be with anything.
Yeah. That is very true, and it's weird in that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. It's weird in that it seems to be all on like the one side of the house. So it's like three floors. The rooms all in a row on 3 floors. So it almost makes me wonder if did something happen on that site, or is this part of the house over something, or because I'll tell you really quick. It's interesting. So again, some very odd things. It started. And again, this could just be a coincidence, but of all things, I was refilling a prescription over the phone, and it was one of those automated things. I'm doing it like 12:15, and it was around Christmas time. And while this whole thing's going, all of a sudden, coming over the phone is just this. It got my goosebumps, and I'll end up being up like an extra hour over it. It was that freaky. This awful, awful voice comes through over the phone.
I lost you.
Uh-oh. I think we
there you are.
No, it's me. I think we lost, Matt.
I'm sorry?
Oh, there he is.
There you are.
There you are. The orbs got you.
Oh, really? You couldn't hear me?
Nah.
Nope.
Did you hear anything about the phone call?
You got to the part about your house, and then the one room.
And the voice, and then that was it. I didn't hear any more.
Okay.
It was a voice.
Oh, that's very, very weird. I'm actually in one of the rooms too, out of these 3 in a row. So maybe it doesn't want it being told. Yeah. So just this horrible. If you just picture like a really, really creepy voice, I would say human-ish, but it didn't sound like a normal person talking. It was kind of thing. Well, then the one night, my wife was out, and I'm downstairs on the computer, and I see out of the corner of my eye, and my kids are always coming downstairs, so I see out of the corner of my eye like this white, so I figured it's one of the kids in there, wearing a shirt to bed, coming downstairs and coming into the room that I'm at, and I feel like they're behind me, and so I'm waiting for them to say something, turn around, and the room's empty, nobody's downstairs. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of odd. So then I go out into the kitchen and start loading the dishwasher. and I'm seeing out of the corner of my eye, like 2 or 3 times, it looks like somebody running back and forth in the dining room. You just see this movement, peripheral vision. You turn around, and there's like nothing there. Then my wife comes home, and I told her I didn't want to freak her out, so I'm sitting. We're sitting in the living room talking, and I'm seeing in the corner of my eye, in the corner of the living room, almost like it was just again motion, almost like somebody would be like waving or something in the corner of the room. And so, but I didn't want to freak her out because she's always telling me, "You better not bring anything back with you." So
yeah, really.
Yeah, so just very odd things, and I've actually had some odd things happen during the show on here that I'm not sure whether it's related to, again, the 2 different rooms that I'll kind of broadcast the show out of are in this kind of level of 3 rooms where things happen. So very, very odd. But anyway, let's go on to your second one here. Do you hear the music? Can you set that one up for us?
That was actually sent in by an investigator named Paul Hicks. He's been here quite a bit of times, and I guess he was playing music during this period, and I guess we were asking them, do you hear it? And they were saying amongst themselves, do you hear it?
All right, here we go. That's really strong. I mean, I would have that comes through really, really clear.
We play music a lot for them. We play music quite a bit in all the different areas of the building, and it can be quiet, like really, like, oh my God, where is everybody? They all like flew the coop and went to the beach, and you play music, and they all start coming out. It's really amazing.
Oh wow! Now, is it certain types of music in certain sections, or same type of music everywhere that has a good response, or any type of music?
I always play anything. What I normally play is anything from like the Brat Pack, Louis Armstrong, that whole era. If it's Roy, I'll go much older and play opera or classical music.
Okay.
Other people, I always kid around with them, like in the chapel, do something that's appropriate. Don't sing like Baby Got Back or anything. But I know other people have like turned on and played Kelly Clarkson and stuff like that. And they've gotten responses. I mean, I think it's music. Music, is a universal language. And even though they might not know the beat or they might not know the words or, I think music is music and it just carries on throughout time. It's timeless.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. How about you, John? Any experience with music and activity?
I knew Katie from my team has been, we're going back to Pennhurst in a couple weeks. And we're going to experiment with putting on some music from that time period to see if we get any results. I haven't personally haven't had music trigger anything for me, but I'm curious to try it. I'm looking into getting into that.
I think you'll be surprised with the results. I think you'll be really happy.
Oh, awesome. All right, I'm going to go right ahead onto the next one here. This is The Morgue. Hi, Amy. Any background on this one?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I thought you were going to play it first. And I take it my chat room up, so I don't know. Is Scott Nash in the chat room by chance? Scott should call in. This is his wife. And basically, they're a couple of my very key volunteers, really good friends of mine. And we were on a tour one night, as we always do. We stopped in the morgue. We went through, and then they went back down with a group that wanted to go down into the morgue. And they walked in, and all of a sudden, Amy goes, look. And the curtain to the left of the table was being pulled open, and not fluttering and, like, blowing in the wind. It, like, pulled back, and apparently it held open, and then it closed, and it did it a couple of times over, like, a minute or two. Like, really hold open and let go. And when they went back and they listened to the recorder, when she said, did you see that, Scott? The curtain, you can hear 2 different men going, hi, Amy. Hi, Amy.
Oh, wow. Well, here we go, folks. This one's a little bit longer, so I'm going to play it twice in a row here. Again, feedback from the chat room as to how well you can hear it would be appreciated. All right, I'm I'm going to turn it up a little bit.
Can you open that curtain again? Good. Open that curtain.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, they get a lot of good activity.
Well, now, does she, I love when you get these stories from, people that are regularly in locations of kind of recognition, the spirits acknowledging and recognizing them. And I'm just curious, does she get that a lot? I mean, does she get recordings of people saying hi to her or her name?
Yeah. Yep, and through the spirit box as well, they'll call her out. Same thing with Scott. And I really feel bad. I have this really great EVP, and I recorded it off an old cell phone that I don't use anymore, and I can't get the clip off the cell phone. But can I tell you about it? It's really kind of interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scott and Amy, Scott's a fireman, Amy's a pharmacist. We went upstairs to our shock therapy room. It's alleged shock therapy. It's up in the infirmary section of the building. And we really can't find any records that they actually did shock therapy there, although we've gotten EVPs, and other people have as well, saying shock or shock therapy, or like a buzzing, zapping noise. So one night we decided, let's do some role playing. And Scott put on the doctor's coat, and we dressed up like a doctor. We threw Amy into, hospital clothing, like a patient's gown and bathrobe and everything else. And I have an antique piece of shock therapy equipment. Doesn't work, obviously. But Amy has on her phone an app, and when you turn it on, it makes like a buzzing noise. If you touch it, it goes like that, really, really like you're getting a shock. And so we brought up our equipment. We're the only people up there. I sat quietly, like I was a nurse taking notes, and Scott proceeded. Oh, once we got up there, we didn't even refer to them as Scott and Amy. It was Dr. Nash and patient 10024. We never called them by their name. Hold on one second. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So anyways, we started the procedure, and Scott goes, or Dr. Nash goes, I'm going to start giving the patient half-hour treatment of blah, 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 whatever, shock therapy. So we did this off and on for about half an hour, and it was dead as a doornail. Didn't get a hit on the flashlight, didn't get a hit on the millimeter, which is very, very unusual in that building. Nothing, not a pin drop, nothing. So towards the end, Scott does it again, and Amy goes, as the patient, she's like convulsing, goes, help, I need help, will somebody help me? And Dr. Nash goes in a really neat voice, you don't need any help. And still nothing. I mean, he never talks to me. He comes and he volunteers, he brings his dad, he's the nicest, soft-spoken man you'd ever want to meet. So the next day, we wrapped it up, mixed him, listened to BVPs, and right after he goes, you don't need any help, in this foamy voice, coming from down the hall is a woman who says, in no uncertain terms, F you, Scott, that says it out loud. And first of all, they knew it was Scott and Amy. Like, seeing Dr. Nash and patient 10024 was not pulling any wool over anyone's eyes. They knew who we were. And they thought we were hurting Amy. And
wow.
I felt terrible because I'm not a provoker in any sense of imagination. I was trying to connect, and we were all trying to connect to the doctors to verify whether or not they actually did shock therapy there, and it was horrible. They wouldn't talk to Scott for 2 months. He kept going up and apologizing, and nothing. We'd go up as a group and investigate and put out flashes or whatever and ask questions or K2 hits. They'd respond to everybody else in the room except for Scott for 2 months. It was horrible.
Wow.
They were so mad at him.
Now, I'm curious just in general on this. Now, I know you said that you don't have this verified, but this is just kind of my own personal theory on things based on experience. Waverly Hills, when I was there, one of the most active rooms that I experienced was the electroshock room. Luana Kurz went out there just recently, and I told her to make sure to check that out, and she had a lot of activity there. St. Albans, been there twice. Maybe not the most active room, but one of the most active rooms in the place, again, was the electroshock room. So, again, I'm just assuming with this kind of theory that, energy or trauma can get imprinted on, the materials around an area. I'm wondering, obviously, electroshock therapy was very traumatic and obviously a lot of energy involved. So I'm just kind of curious to see if if that trend is consistent through a lot of locations. Are the electroshock rooms particularly active? So just kind of curious, this room, whether it did happen there or not, is this one of the more active places in Rolling Hills?
We got activity up there. Yes, there's lots of activity. That's where Cecil hangs out. He was the first private owner that owned the property, and he ended up passing away in the building. And before he passed away, poor little man, he was 74, moved into the building all by himself. He wanted to try to create like assisted living, and couldn't get any funding, so he lived there by himself. But he would go and chisel out by hand in the east wing cinder blocks and put them in a wheelbarrow and carry them, wheel them across from the east wing and carrying them up the stairs and over to the west wing to try to build these little units. And he used to run around with a shotgun and a machete. He was so scared. And anyways, he died in the building, and he's our door slammer, and he slams doors up there. Sometimes you don't see them slam, but you hear them, and it'll be weird because if you go look around, there's no doors closed. But you hear a strong metal door slamming. So you get that. We get abnormal hits on the K2 and strange areas in there. When I was on the tour last night, there was 2 rooms adjacent, like built, they were closed in from the main shock therapy room. It would have been one big room, but now there's like 2 little rooms in the big room. And they heard, one of the people on the tour heard some noises coming from one of the rooms, and they went in there, and they got like this really abnormal hit on their K2, and then they were hearing like a man talking. And they were freaking out. It was pretty funny. I wish it was pretty funny, but it was pretty funny because it was just like, oh my God, did you hear that? And oh my God, it was actually the guy that never had ever a personal experience, and he actually heard his first voice. So that's kind of cool for them. I'm happy. I like it when people can walk away with at least one personal experience.
Oh wow! And just real quick on this, because I believe you mentioned this on the Thursday night show or on the Thursday day show that. He was doing all kinds of, like, construction. He said it was almost like the Winchester House over in the infirmary area.
Yeah. Yeah, he chopped up rooms and chiseled out doorways and patched up other doorways and put up a wall and take down a wall. There's one, we have a photograph, a Polaroid, and we cannot figure out, because of the perspective of the Polaroid where the doors are, there's a bureau that's in between the 2 doors, but there's no way on God's green earth that would fit there. If you come, I'll show it to you. We've stood there, like multitude of people, volunteers, attendees, and I'll bring it up there and I'll say, can you help me figure this picture out? And we cannot figure out the picture for the life of us. Because it just doesn't make sense. It's like the room, like it's like a elastic room, like it stretched and then it went back into shape. It's just so weird. Because there's just no way it would get there.
Huh. Now you said he was carrying around the shotgun, the machete. He was carrying any reports, or did he? Obviously it would have been a much different story talking about this, back then as compared to now. But any stories coming from him about experiences or anything that kind of freaked him out in the building? I mean, he could always say he was carrying things just to chase off, squatters and things as well. So,
I don't know.
Any reports?
I don't know specifics, but I know that he was trying to find a little area in one of the rooms to make a false wall where he could hold himself up in there at night and actually put the cinder blocks back in so it doesn't even look like he's in there. I imagine, because of the people that were breaking in, but also people that knew him said that he was scared living in the building. My neighbor knew him very well. I should say he was terrified of living there.
Oh, wow.
So, but I don't know any specifics, unfortunately. And what's really sad is, for me, is that he has a daughter named Sharon, born in 1961, and I'm Sharon, born in 1961. But, of course, she's probably been married, and I can't find her because I don't know her married name.
Oh, wow.
And I would love to talk to her.
Absolutely. Oh, very interesting. We have a caller. I'm not sure if this actually may be Steve. I'm not sure. Sunday Night Dead, who are we speaking with?
Hi, this is Scott.
Scott.
from Momentum and a volunteer at Rolling Hills.
Oh, awesome.
Hi,
Amy's
Sharon.
wife. Amy's husband. Hi, Scott.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think I accidentally called you Steve. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It happens all the time, actually. I just wanted to kind of chime in on the shock therapy scenario there. And I just wanted to say, yeah, it's true that I couldn't get a flashlight to turn on to me for anything. So it was like simple stuff like that. There was no talking to me. I had my friends come in. They had their flashlights turned on. They didn't touch mine. So
They were so mad at him.
it was horrible. I completely apologized to them so hard, and they finally forgave me, kind of.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, prior to that, was it? I mean, they obviously from that other audio clip, they obviously seemed to like Amy. Were you getting generally positive audio prior to that before they blew you off?
Yeah, I would get I'd get the flashlight activity. I would get EVPs, things like that. I've gotten pictures and some pretty cool stuff, but it was for months. I couldn't get anything. I couldn't even get an orb half the time.
So, wow.
And then just to reiterate, I mean, Scott is here a lot, and he brings out, he's a fireman, he brings out his other fireman buddies or his EMT friends, and then his dad comes out, and they do a lot of work around the property. I mean, they're really like my right-hand people. And so the building, I mean, they know Scott very well, and they know that he does, bust his butt out there for keeping the building open. And it was just, I felt so bad. It was so hurtful to him. I felt so bad. So, but there's an EVP you might want to play that actually Scott got called Step On It. Since he's on the phone, he can tell you about it.
Yep. It was only a couple away from where we're at, so let's go right to that one. Can you help us set this one up, Scott? Step On It?
Sure. This is actually one of our first times there, and there's only a few of us in the building, and we're up in George's room with Sharon, and we just had some flashlights set up, and we had the one sitting on the middle of the floor there, and it was on. Hey, can you turn the flashlight off? And sure enough, someone says, well, go ahead and step on it. It'll turn off, kind of thing. So I think it's pretty clear that that's what it says. But.
Well, now did it turn off? Did it turn off? Correlate with the EVP? Oh, cool. Yeah. All right, here we go. Step on it again. Going to play it a couple times, and I'll adjust the volume.
Can you back away from the light for a minute?
Oh yeah, you can hear that pretty good, but I'm going to turn up a little bit. So, warning for the headphones, folks.
Can you back away from the light for a minute?
Oh, awesome. Now I'm curious for both Sharon and Scott here, because I'm noticing just on these on a couple of these EVPs, they're coming through clear enough like that. That sounded like an older man. Do you notice or do you pick up kind of consistent or similar voices? Can you kind of possibly piece together some personalities EVP-wise within the building based on what you're getting?
No, absolutely. Like Emma's voice is very distinct. Roy's is very distinct. Elizabeth is very distinct. Little Jack, I've only heard once when he said boo to me, so I don't know. I guess if he says boo, I'll know him again. Raymond, we just got a really good EVP. I wish the guy would have sent it to me, and he hasn't sent it to me yet. Happened on, I can't remember, just the other night, last Friday, I guess it was. We were in the building, and they were downstairs in the boiler room, the maintenance room, and it was really cold. And one of the ladies in their group said, oh, it's freezing in here. And they had the recorder going, and Raymond said, it's not that bad. And it was crystal clear. Crystal
that was
clear.
a good one. Yeah.
It was so good. I mean, it was crazy. Just like you said it, So I'm hoping to send me that one. It was just amazing. So, yeah, we do know the regulars, their voice, but there's so many people there that don't tell us their name, and they just chime in with the silliest things and, like really silly stuff. I was in the green room, which is like the main scenario where people have coffee and stuff, and I was fixing the batteries in this light that was in the display case. There's two lights. And I was getting weird hits. I was in there by myself. They were all investigating. So I had my take two out, and I had my recorder. I have to stop using the one on my phone because I can't get the stupid EVP's off the phone. But anyways, I had it going, and I'm fixing one light, and I'm saying, oh, yeah, Sharon, opening up the batteries, blah, 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 fixing this. Oh, yeah, it works great. On to the other one. Oh, just can't get to work. What's wrong with this one? Oh, gosh, I must have them in backwards, and I turn them around. I play back the recording, and right when I'm saying, geez, I don't know what's wrong with this one, well, I should start off. First, I turn on the recording, and I hear this man going, like that. And I'm thinking, man, I got to lose some weight, you know? I'm breathing really heavy here. And I realize it's not me. It's this guy breathing over what I'm talking about. So it's some old man. And then when I got to that point where, oh, my God, I can't fix this light right, he goes, turn him around the other way. All the batteries in backwards.
Oh,
Don't know
wow.
who he is. Don't know who he is. He won't tell me who he is. He's in the green room all the time. But he's just like a little hanger-on.
Oh, now I'm curious here. As we get into these are really, really clear. So I'm just curious if it's just related to kind of the acoustics in the asylum, or what kind of recorders do both you and Scott use on these? Because I have to say these are really impressive on how clear the voices are coming through on these.
I have a Olympus and a Sony. I don't know what Scott has.
I use my iPhone, and let me see, I think it's an Olympus. I think I have it sitting here. Just there it is.
Your voice isn't coming through too clear, Scott.
Okay. Yeah, I have the Olympus voice recorder type, fairly inexpensive. I bought it when I was in college for professors and stuff like that.
Sorry, there's a bang outside my house. I'm just going to go look for a second. Sorry, guys.
Okay. That's all right. Yeah, Wright actually said that it's that clear. It's that clear. We could do some pretty interesting experiments in here. But very, very interesting. Gonna jump right on to saw blade. I just want to check here. I wasn't sure. Sharon, are you still there? Did you have to go check out that?
I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry about the dog.
No problem.
Saw blade. That's from the butcher shop. Now, the butcher is, I don't know his name. He won't tell me his name. And normally on the tour, I go through this little spiel. I have people look at the rack that's in there and tell me what they think it is. The things I get are hysterical. Garage door opener, box mover, weird things. And it's actually the butcher shop that I like to find a beef house. And then on the counter, I have this little small hand-cranking meat cutter that I got at a yard sale for like $1. But I can't get the blade out. So I always make a joke of it, like don't put your finger in and do a YouTube video. Because you cut off your finger, you always want to release form, and, blah, blah, blah. I don't need all the blood all over the place. I try to be silly. And every time I do that, every time I lose this time, I was saying about the saw blade. He goes, saw blade. He repeated it.
Oh, wow. Well, here we go. This is saw blade. Oh, wow. Now, just to help people listening, I'm going to turn it up a little bit here, but that's like a very drawn, it's like saw blade, right?
Yep.
It's good. Okay. So it's drawn out versus over most of this clip for everyone that's listening. Very, very interesting. Now, is that, did you get that type of voice and that type of, style of speaking when in the butcher shop when you interact with this person a lot, or is that kind of unique to that clip?
I've only gotten that from him, and I'm very bad at going and listening through my audio, and a lot of times I don't even carry a recorder around anymore because I have so much of it. I can't keep up with it. I'm in the building, starting in April through November, five or six nights a week, so I just don't do as much as I should. I don't know what other people get, but people are really funny. Investigators don't send clips very often. And I literally have to hound people. Please send me your stuff. I'll post it on the website. I'll give you links to your website. And people it goes back to that whole paranormal unity and sharing information and trying to further the whole research aspect of this. It's, everyone talks the talk and nobody walks the walk. It's hard.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't understand it, but then again, that's part. I love working with all these different locations. So when I do these repetitive investigations and things, I try to build that body of information to share with the people at the location as well, because it helps paint the overall picture of everything. And so that's kind of where my interest lies. So I'm surprised. Well, I'm surprised based on my style on it, but knowing how the field is, not surprised that happens. All right, we did. Okay, next one, Sharon. So this is the second Sharon.
I honestly don't recall. You'll have to play it.
Okay, no problem. Here we go.
They say my name all the time, so. Oh, I heard my name. We were doing a spirit box session in the hallway, which we do often with the Frank's box, and I was trying to get Roy, and that was Roy. That's Roy's voice. And I was excited, like Elton John just walked into the room. It's really stupid, I know. But whenever I hear Roy say my voice, I almost jump out of my skin. I'm like a little kid.
Awesome. Well, here it is. Here's Roy's voice on the Frank's box saying Sharon's name.
Oh, I heard my name.
Now I got to add, is there something after that, or am I just matrixing?
Two Sharon.
Whispering voice. There's another Sharon afterwards.
Sharon. Yep, there's Sharon by Roy. Then there's another Sharon.
Okay, I'm gonna play this again, just because I was just picking up something after that.
Oh, I heard my name.
Oh yeah. Okay. Interesting. Awesome. Next one. I'm getting it's. Mark's putting in the chat that's George's voice.
No, Roy.
The second one?
Oh, the second voice? There's no way of me telling you. It's so low.
Okay.
I really don't know.
Okay. I'm just relaying what I'm seeing in the chat.
George usually grumbles because he has several strokes and he has a tracheotomy, so he doesn't really talk very clearly at all. It usually sounds like he's growling. So I don't think it's George.
Okay. Next one, the nurse is terrible?
Yeah, this is Paul Hicks again. He has come probably 8 or 9 times to the building with his nephew. And he came on a Sunday night, and they were the only 2 people in the building other than me. And I was down in the green room. There was no need for me to go with them. They've been in the building a million times. They did the tour. They were upstairs investigating on their own. I was downstairs. And, we're 3 floors apart, 2.5 floors apart. And he comes down and he goes, "You're not going to believe what I just got." It was it's actually on video he got it. And it's crystal clear. And you'll hear the woman's voice. And being that I'm the only woman in the building, it's not my voice.
Interesting. So here we go.
It's absolutely terrible.
And again.
It's absolutely terrible.
Wow.
So we think that might be Emma.
Okay.
But as you can see, I'm going to say the nurse is absolutely terrible. It's not me.
All right. Moving right along here. Next one. Where does Steve linger?
Why does Steve linger here? Okay, this is a long story. Again, it's Paul Hicks, months apart, same room, Emma's room. We have a gentleman up in room 15 that actually George has been helped identify at one point. He reared his head about a year ago. The spirit, not a very pleasant man. He tried to lock Emma in a room and try to choke her. We know this because we did a Frank Spot session with George, and Emma came through crying and was all hysterical. And at that point, before we did the Frank Spot session, it precipitated because I'd go up to the administration floor, and I'd be on the tour, and I'd walk around the corner to go into Emma's room, and the first door would be closed, and Emma's door would be closed. I'm like, why are they closed? And I'd open them, and I'd do it every night. And I'm like, leave the doors open. I want the doors open. Please leave them open. And they kept closing them. Finally, Emma's door would stay open, and this other one stayed closed, so I'd left it closed. And then that's when Emma started getting closed again. And then when we were in Emma's room on the tour, we'd hear from this other door rattling of the doorknob or rattling of the door, growling coming from the door. Sometimes you stand outside the doorway in the hall and it smelled like fresh dog poop. Really bad stuff. And so that's why we did the Frank spot session. So now we've discovered that we have this man, Steve. He's not pleasant. Emma's afraid of him. He's acting up. We'll leave the door open and not prop it open. He'll slam the door. Other people have gotten it on video, the door closing. Scott's friend and one of my volunteers, Bubba, an EMT, almost gets like he wants to burst out crying. He makes grown men want to cry. So one day we were in the building, and during the day, 11 o'clock in the morning, Scott was there. I'm not sure it was Mike and Bubba. They were in another part of the building. Amy and I were in Emma's room, and we walked out of Emma's room and walked by this door number 15 where Steve hangs out. And the door was open, and Amy was ahead of me, and she goes, ow, and she puts her hand up to her right eye. And I'm like, what's the matter? What happened? And she goes, it feels like a hot ball of energy just hit me in the face. And I looked, and she has this big red mark on her face, okay? Now, as I mentioned, Amy's a pharmacist. Didn't think anything more of it. We've been still dealing with his weird behavior and his, abnormal stuff going on. About a month ago, Paul comes. He gets the CVP, and we play it, and we didn't even make the connection until Roy's birthday. We were talking about it. And it says, why does Steve linger here? Drugs. And I found it really ironic that he hit the pharmacist in the eye.
Oh, wow. Well, here we go. Why does Steve linger?
Tell me why Steve lingers here.
Pretty quick answer there. Here we go.
Tell me why Steve lingers here.
Now, is that, do you believe that's Steve's voice, or is that somebody else speaking for Steve?
I think it's him.
Okay.
I think it's him. Mark O'Connor, who's in the chat room, he actually has had altercations with Steve himself. And he might have gotten some EVPs on his sessions. I don't know. So if he's there, maybe he can pipe up.
Okay.
But, yeah, he's not a pleasant man. And we tend to get a lot of activity out of the closet in his room as well. Just strange stuff. And it's only been about a year that it's been going on, that he's really reared his head. People have seen his shadow. He tends to scratch down, like in an umpire position. He's very squatty, like they describe him in a beach ball, round beach ball with like a bowling ball head, and just kind of really angry.
Wow.
So, but we're trying to work with him and trying to get him to cohabitate with everyone else without scaring Emma. But last week, for the first time in about 3 months, I went up and her door was closed. So I've got to watch and see if there's any new changes going to be happening up there.
Now, I will just add here, and we're going to take a quick break soon, and then going to see if George can call in to talk a little bit about Thursday. But I've also been doing, George is far better at this than I am, but I've been going through the audio from the show on Thursday as well. And I was picking up, at least in the first burst, when you guys were talking about the door being closed, what sounds to me like an argument between a man and a woman. And to me, and I have it, it's just I was playing it, and I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it comes through clear enough to play it on the show, so I'm still going to keep working at it. And if I can get it, clearer, if George has a clearer version of it, go ahead and play it. But it sounded to me almost like asking about the door being closed, and it sounds like because people taking my clothes, it sounded like, and then shortly after that, the voice gets much louder, much like she's yelling at, and then there's a guy's voice in there as well. So again, just very interesting. I don't know all the other things that George is going to get. I know he isn't through everything yet, although we have a bunch we're going to load and play for you all in the second hour. But I'm going to keep diving into this. Again, it's just a time piece between Thursday and now. Didn't get very far on my end of it, but got some pretty interesting interactions there, and I'll certainly share that with you, Sharon, to see if it sheds light on anything else.
Well, it's really interesting you should say what you said about taking his clothes, because about, I don't know, maybe it was about a month ago now, I decided let's play nice with Steve and try to make him feel more at home. We brought a chair in for him, like a nice wingback chair, and I said, let me go get him a flannel shirt from our wardrobe room, and I'll put it in his closet. And I just put a shirt in his closet. So I think that's kind of interesting. Maybe he wants more clothes. I don't know. I don't know. I just think that's really interesting that you just got that.
Well, I will, again, it's just that the timing's been too quick. I will go ahead and send you what I have and see what you think about it. Again, it came listening on the headphones, it came through really clear. And then I always do as a double check, just play it on the computer to see what it sounds like. And it was so much harder to make out. So I didn't feel comfortable, playing it tonight. But I will certainly share those with you. I just heard back from George. He's going to come on to talk about the show on Thursday. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to quick here. Just got to scroll through all my stuff. Quick play a song here. I need to get a drink. I'm not sure if any of the rest of you need to, but we will be back in about 4 minutes with the second half of Rolling Hills Part 2. Thanks for listening, everyone. Here we go. We'll be back in 4 minutes. we're back. I'm going to bring everybody on. John Coghill, Sharon Coyle, Scott Nash, and I believe we now have George Lopez with us. Everybody there?
What's up, buddy?
Hello.
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 Well, George, before we start kind of diving into this, why don't you tell us a little bit about, at least from your experiences, of what happened on Thursday?
Again, the circumstances on doing last Thursday's broadcast, it was kind of up in the air. Sharon and I were discussing it, and then Sharon goes, "Oh, I didn't know we were broadcasting." And I said, "Well, there were a lot of people when we did the Monday show that really voted up to want to come in and hear it, and we did have a good listening volume for this Thursday event, and it was on the anniversary of Roy's passing, and Sharon had made mention of that last week on your show and said, I'd like to possibly do this. And I said, well, I work nights, so we can do it during the daytime, and I don't think it really has any relevance. Sharon will be the first one to tell you, as a proprietor of a historically haunted location, that the activity is day and night. It's not particularly scheduled for when it's pitch black and scary. It happens at all hours of the day, and so we thought it would be just as admissible as a experiment to do this Frank's Box session in the day, and so we did, and had an amazing 2 hours of again, more of this communication, not to at least this point in time to the level of clarity that we had on that very first dual spirit box session that we did, but I have a feeling, again, as we know, this is not an exact science, that there could be conditions and elements involved with it. The device itself, I'm sure over time will affect differently and act differently. So a lot of different factors involved with it. But again, with just what you were telling her just before the break about what you were picking up on and what I was picking up on, again, relates to things that have occurred there at Rolling Hills and does have matter and substance to it. So, and again, completely different. You've heard normal spirit boxes, Matt. I'm sure that Scott has, and Mark has too. The Frank's Box is a completely unique type of audio sound that comes across. You're not hearing radio frequencies, if you will, from radio stations. This is completely different, but it's just a device that absorbs all the chatter of all the energy around it. And that's one of the biggest reasons why when we're doing this, even as Sharon's talking or I'm talking or Mark's talking, you're still hearing the conversation going on. I think it's because it picks up 2 or 3 spirits talking to each other. Could be just the spirits that are committed there, the insane spirits, talking to themselves, but they're coming across nonetheless.
And that's what I found really interesting. I was not able to listen to it live, but I was able to listen to the archive of it, and then I've been kind of going through it as well, and it's gonna take a while, because the thing that struck me about it was, you're not hearing the cycling of the radio stations, but there is almost a constant conversation going on the whole time you have that on. I mean, there is, 1 to 3 voices talking almost the entire time you have that on. So there is a lot that came across, and a lot to go through and analyze from that session. I'm going to I think maybe Mark O'Connor, who was there as well, may be here in the queue. So I'm going to see if he's joined us.
While you're pulling up Mark, I just wanted to say that also, I think that this was an unusual session. The weather was really weird. We were having really weird weather, and this was an unusual situation. There was more constant overlap of chatter than we've ever experienced in the past. Usually you'll get a little bit of talking over each other. You ask them to step back, and 1 or 2 voices will come through and really cooperate. It seemed like this time, for whatever reason, there was a plethora of people that just had a lot to say. And I've gone one cast through just listening off the recorder, and I'm going to have to dump it in and really try to pull some stuff out, because there's so much overlay. I can't pull it out right now.
Yeah, so Mark, is that you that called in?
It is. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Mark.
I wanted to before we get into some of these clips here, I wanted to add here, since Mark was there, one of these experiments, and I believe when I was at Curse City, they did this with me as well, and so actually they did it with having to say that Matt Slozer likes ice cream, which ended up coming through, which is pretty interesting. But you guys did an experiment where you were up in, I believe it was Emma's room, and without any communication, and George instructed them to go up there and touch you, and you guys were getting voices of actually some discussion about that prior to them going up there, and the instructions were to touch you hard enough to make your right knee jerk. And so can you tell us a little bit about what ended up happening when you're sitting up there in Emma's room?
Yeah, it's interesting. Just to kind of piggyback on a point that was made before the break. Way back when, the first interaction we had with Steve, I guess, which is in the room next to Emma, a while back when my girlfriend Christine and Sharon and I were up there. I mean, it was just very, very interesting area up there as far as I always get a lot of energy up there between Steve's room and that, and it was just a weird experience. I kind of overpowered my girlfriend as far as in that situation because Steve was just very angry, and I got to the point, I'm not a provoker, where I kind of kicked the door to kind of let him know that he shouldn't be kind of tormenting her. So I walk up there, upon George's request for this experiment, and I'm walking up the stairs, and I can just really, really feel this, feel it up there, and I sit down in her room, kind of with my back to the wall, looking down the hallway because there's a chair right there, kind of like at a 45-degree angle, and I literally can feel people walking up and down the hallway, running back and forth. I think that little Jack and Stephanie, they were running back and forth as I'm sitting up there, just kind of waiting for the fun to go on. And then one of George's spirit guides, I think, is what you refer to her as. I could feel Amanda come up, and I felt like a little weird sensation on my hands and on my chest, but there was no reaction. I don't know if that was maybe Amanda or Colette giving a hug, which was an awesome experience to have had twice that day as well. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I mean, it just felt like someone, just kind of like, walked over to you and said, "Hey, buddy," and just kind of like slapped you right on the side of the knee, basically. I really couldn't decipher if it was above or below the knee, because I think when I went back to my audio, which I really fought and scratched to do and lost some sleep since then to get through, because I had two recorders going for that whole time. I think he had asked right above the knee. I think that I had initially said I felt it kind of like someone pricked my calf, but the more I think about it, it felt like someone had just slapped my right knee, just right in the side, to the point where it got my foot off of the ground to create exactly what George asked for, which was a knee-jerk reaction. It didn't scare me or anything like that. It was, because I was kind of expecting something, but it was just incredible, to walk downstairs and hear them say, "Yeah, that's exactly what we asked them to do," and so just a really, really cool experience.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to at least start diving into this, because there's a lot to talk about, and I got to tell you, just gut feel from what I've listened so far on this, there will be probably we could probably fill multiple shows with what came out of this, because it just I was blown away with the original dual Spirit Box session show when I heard it, and this, from what I've been able to go through so far, has blown me away as well. But George, I'll have you help me set these up. The first one to play is I'm going to go through them in order of how you sent them to me. Is that the order they should go in?
I don't really think there's much relevance to the order on there, because it's all, and this was the thing that falls right into sync with Sharon's vocal statements, and as you were reviewing also, Matt and Mark said you were reviewing also, that you hear Sharon a lot of time going, "I don't know if they can hear us. I don't know if they can hear us, or we can't hear them." There's a lot of chatter, things of that nature, and it falls really in suit with them realizing the same thing. A lot of this chatter, again, is interspiritual, not interactive, and it's almost as if they're trying to get to the level of communicating. And the one thing that Matt, you especially, you're very analytical in your mindset, and I always think about this as well. Spirits do not have pupils. They do not have nasal passages. They do not have ear canals. how do they see us? How do they hear us? How do they sense us in any capacity whatsoever? So is there an aspect of it, too, where there's so much of this interactive conversation going on, overlapping what we are saying? Again, are they pulled more strongly to each other? In other words, Amanda and Colette show up. It's a kind of a reunion, if you will. Mark even remarked about this aspect of a very good atmosphere, almost celebratory. So you wonder whether or not they were so wrapped up with what they were doing, and we are secondary as far as energy, that we're not being responded to as much. But in these conversations, you'll hear that they're realizing the fact that we're not being able to, at least to where I am in the review. I'm not even nearly done, and I told Sharon the same thing as well today. There's a lot more to review, but in this particular 12 clips that I have here, these clips are all about them trying to establish communication or realizing that we can't comprehend what they're saying.
All right, so this first one is, and respond exactly, listen close enough, we're in the box. So here we go. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Okay, now was this, because this is the other thing I found very interesting is, and I forget the name, I believe he said he was a maintenance guy, but there was that one spirit that seemed to completely take charge, and right. I even caught a couple, and I think they might be the same as you have here, George, where it sounded like he was kind of giving out instructions to the other spirits as to what to do. What were your thoughts on? Has that been somebody that you've seen there before, Sharon, or just kind of overall? What were your thoughts on that?
I don't know who Rich is. You have to repeat part of that because I was putting my face away from the phone so I could blow my nose. I'm sorry, I didn't hear all that.
I was just talking about. So yeah, I didn't know if you caught anything previously with Rich.
No, I have not. I've never heard his name before. He may be one of those spirits that says something every now and then and doesn't share his name. But no, I don't know him other than that first time. So I'm hoping he'll come up more often now.
George, have you experienced that before with a kind of a entity at a location kind of taking charge and trying to direct everyone else?
I think that there's always going to be one particular mediator. When we do the spirit box sessions or have done them here in my home or in the backyard, I never do it inside the house, but in the backyard, Colette and Amanda and Gabriel will be the organizers or coordinators for other spirits to come in and communicate. This guy, Rich, identified himself as working in the basement. He was the foreman, not caretaker, but foreman, whatever that category may be. And we're only assuming Rich again because we've not gotten any particular, at least since my review, his name, his identification. Still have to go further down in the review to see where it is. But even you could hear me when I'm doing the review saying, even if your name is not Rich, we're going to call you Rich for the aspect of communication and then continue to go on with there. He was the one that was organizing that. And again, we do that with Amanda, Colette, and Gabriel when we do it here. So, yes, we absolutely have always somebody orchestrating everybody else getting involved with the communication.
Interesting. All right, the next one we have here is Don't Bother Me, Don't Be Rude. So was that in reference to you, or was that in reference to this kind of inter-spirit communication that we were picking up?
This, I think, was the initial arguments as you were talking about, too, between two people. Don't bother me, don't be rude to me. Right off the get-go, again, considering the location and the multiple personalities that these spirits have and roles that they have, both being people who were employees there and those who were actually inmates there. So there could be a lot of the times where there's somebody just being annoying and just telling them that.
All right, here we go. Don't bother me, don't be rude.
Hello?
Okay, I'm going to turn this up a little bit. So again, headphone warning to people. Here we go.
Hello?
Sharon's having a coughing fit in the background. I can hear. most of these you're probably going to have to crank up because they're much quieter at the beginning, and the phone wasn't as close. So you can crank them up; it won't be too loud.
Okay, here we go. It's going to be a little louder here.
I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Hello?
So is it the, I heard the don't bother me before Sharon says hello and then don't be rude after? Is that,
That's
or am I
correct.
missing something? Okay. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time here loud enough so that everybody can hear it.
Hello?
Interesting.
George, it almost sounds like they're saying something about coming up from the basement. Did you hear that at all?
Oh, play it again.
Yeah, play it again. Here we go.
Right in the beginning. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear basement too. Let's do this one more time.
Hello?
Interesting. What do you think, George?
There was a couple of different times that Amanda and people will always, look at this with absolute conjecture and understand that Amanda shows me flashes. When she takes these particular trips, she shows me flashes. One of the things that we kept picking up on and then started hearing it a multitude of times, and even post-show, when we were doing a little more Spirit Box post-show, was up from the basement. A lot of it from the aspect of up from the basement, whether or not that happens to be, and I know there's one particular portal in Rolling Hills Asylum, but if this is another access point for them to make their journey through. But we have several references of that seem to be coming up a lot during that. So, I'm interested to finish the review on this and see what else that we pick up in regards to that particular location.
Very interesting. Next, don't respond with.
Yeah, people in the chat can help out on this because that extra line afterwards is the missing word. It sounds like boot, but I'm not. It doesn't make sense. But you hear don't respond with, and again, this is the aspect of trying to establish the answers to the questions that we're asking, and you'll see several of these in those clips where it's about responding. This one is don't respond with, and I can't figure out what that last word is. So maybe the guys in the chat can help.
Okay, here we go. So anyone in the chat, feel free to weigh in on this. Help us out. Again. Here we go again. Interesting.
Anybody?
I can't tell.
Yeah.
Was there any? Were you getting any? I don't even know where this was. Were you getting any kind of snarky, semi dirty responses on other things there?
I don't. I haven't heard any on this session at all.
Yeah, me neither.
The only reason why I was saying is I hear almost a in the boots instead of the T sound. I'm almost hearing the B sound on the end.
Boobs.
Yeah, so I thought maybe it was just. Yeah, I'm going to play it again here.
Play it again.
So what
Put a name in there. Put a name in there instead. Don't respond with, and see if there's a name there. Go ahead.
Okay. Bruce?
Say this whole sentence, George, that you think that they're saying, if you don't mind.
Well, it's don't respond with, and then the last part of it, and that's what I can't make out, and that's why I left it.
Don't respond with.
Don't respond with, and then maybe rudeness, maybe, it's cut off. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some phonetics in there.
I'll do it one more time here. Just see. I could see rudeness as well.
I don't think it's rudeness.
Possibly.
That would make sense.
That would make sense. What the heck? One more time.
Yeah.
And it has that cadence.
Yeah.
Same cadence.
Yeah, I'll have to. And again, what's amazing about this, and you hear some of these other ones as we get into the anniversary ones, I know that are coming up, is regards to the difference between what Mark, Sharon, myself, you, Matthew, have listened to time and time again with a normal spirit box and scanning across the frequencies. And Sharon's doing the same thing. She's got it on AM, and she's scanning the frequencies. And
Actually,
you
I
hear...
have it on FM.
Oh, even on FM, okay. Where you just...
AM was like completely static. I couldn't get anything. Nothing. So I had FM this time. And that's probably why we're having more chatter. I wonder if that's why we're having more chatter.
It was however the speed is going across the frequencies, but here you have a female voice, at least 6 or 7 different signals that it's crossing over, again, giving the verification that it's utilizing the white noise, which only seems to be where we're receiving anyway. We're not receiving any type of radio transmission, advertising, or anything on these. It's amazing.
Awesome. Listen, I absolutely love this next one. This came through, you could hear it on the show right away without having to go back and analyze it. The Happy Anniversary, Roy. So here, let me goose up the volume here. It should come through pretty clear.
I want to hear a couple of times, Happy Anniversary, Roy.
Again.
I want to hear a couple of times, Happy Anniversary, Roy.
Nice.
And that came through, if I remember right. You actually ended up getting a couple of those, didn't you?
Yeah, and what I cut out was my over-adulation of screaming, yes! So as not to blow out everybody's eardrums. But, yeah, I could hear that firsthand, too.
All right, here's another, I guess this Happy Anniversary cake, did that come right after, or was that later?
Right in the same grouping. And, you know, somebody there, obviously, we've talked about this, Matt, in depth about cravings, what we may miss in the afterlife. And that's why we think there's so many times people who have attachments because they're smokers or they're drinkers or they're big-time chocolate eaters. And it just sounds like somebody in the asylum really misses birthday cake.
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, and I should have, not birthday cake, but happy anniversary cake. My apologies.
Here we go. And do you think it almost sounds like it's two different voices? You think happy anniversary is one voice and cake's another?
I do. If you want to play them in sequence and judge, go ahead.
Yeah, sounds like two voices.
Yeah, like somebody's saying happy anniversary and somebody else is like asking for cake. One more time. Interesting.
That's funny. Well, the thing is, we had birthday cake for Roy, so they were probably expecting an anniversary cake.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, next one. We are not responding loud enough. Yeah. That's again about the aspect of the communication back and forth. I think the full on is, hey, we're not responding loud enough. Okay, we got it. Okay. Yeah, some of these I have to admit, some of these I cut short on the typing. All right, here we go. Now, do you think that sounds, was that Rich?
No, I don't think this is Rich. Rich was coming across a little bit more, loud than that. That particular case, I couldn't tell you, but they're definitely, in this particular case, working in conjunction with each other. But yeah, to get hey, we're not responding loud enough. Okay, we got it. Is just again tremendous to get a full-on sentence response like that.
Absolutely. Here we go again. I'm going to play it twice in a row. That's awesome.
And two voices in that.
Yeah.
I think the second one may be Rich, though. Sharon, if you want to interject.
That was the very first time that I've heard him coming through, was the session that you and I did. I'm not sure. I mean, it's hard for me to tell. I need to hear a voice a couple times over. in different manners to be able to really really name somebody.
Right. Yeah, we've got to do more analysis and comparatives.
Here's one not as nice as the other ones. This one's hi, bitch.
Yeah, a male saying that, and then a female cutting in with another statement of something in the asylum. So, and it's so muffled in the middle because it's a male speaking first, and then a female cuts in with something in the asylum. If you guys can, be able to clear out what it said in the middle there, knock yourselves out.
And I was just going to add, is this near, because I picked up, and it was actually, I found it very interesting, but it was almost a little unsettling, what I was speaking about earlier about the people taking my clothes. Shortly after that, it sounds like there's 2 or 3 people in a pretty good argument going on. Was this anywhere near that part of it?
There was a whole section, and you actually hear me say during the session, tag this for review, and it just goes. But I can't because it's just so much going on. I still haven't been able to break it down, but I'm not giving up.
Yeah, I have a couple. I haven't got a chance to dive into it enough, but I have a couple where it sounds like in this argument that not some nice the male, which I guess this could be consistent if it was Steve. It was like the people taking my clothes. Then there's a male voice. Sounds almost like it's not only me. And then she says about the clothes louder and sounds much more upset. Yeah. And then it was like out of my face, bitch, or something. I mean, there's something along those lines. But again, I still got to work through this as well. And obviously, I'll share what I get.
And
with
that
you
would
all.
be consistent of him and Emma going at it.
That is absolutely, just hearing it, not making out the words, just hearing the kind of the cadence and kind of the emotion in it, that's what it sounds like to me. Here we go, but here's the hi, bitch. And again.
I wonder if the female is saying, is this the asylum? As if it's a transient. Listen after getting hi, bitch, is this the asylum? But again, speculation. Take a listen.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, I could hear that.
Yeah, it sounds like a question.
Yeah, I hear that too.
And isn't it funny, right after he goes, hi, bitch?
Yeah.
Like greeting a new person?
Rudely,
yeah.
But yes.
He probably has Tourette. Forgive the poor man.
Interesting. Again, I may have cut off part of this when I was, so these two seem to be related. The first one I have here is look under their close.
Yeah, and again, it's to your credit with what you're doing also, Matthew, doing the review. And I know a couple of people otherwise that are doing this as well as Mark's doing it, and Ed Ezra, who came and listened in. He said he was going to download and listen to it too. But it's, again, subject to interpretation. I have look under their close. I will want samples of like this. Again, look under their close. I will want samples like this. Now you're talking about clothes, and I'm having a second thought to it. So you might as well just play it for people to hear and see if they hear the same thing that I got, or they hear clothes, C-L-O-T-H-E-S, instead of C-L-O-S-E. So look under their close. I will want samples like this.
Okay, here we go. And again. And I do it one more time, just really cranked up there. Just.
Yeah, as you hear, there's a lot more there, but of what I could extract, and it falls in sync with the one just a couple down from there, which says, "Look under their clothes. What problematic?" So I don't know again what the content is to it, and maybe again from the aspect of Mark's sensitivity, if he could pick up what was going on at the time, if there was an issue of clothes, or look under their close. Under what, I don't know.
All right, well, here's the other clip from that. I'm gonna turn it up.
You know what's interesting is that this time we're getting a lot of interaction amongst each other that has no rhyme or reason to what we're asking them or the line of question that we're going, which is making me wonder if the stuff that we're picking up on Thursday is more residual.
I would argue against it, only in the fact, and Mark, you chime in because you were there and you were sensing all kinds of things. I would argue against it, Sharon, only in the sense that, again, we're being arrogant to think that we are priority number one. How many different paranormal investigative teams are in there? How many times are you in there as well? And if there are women coming in there, such as High Bitches is the Asylum, and Amanda and Colette are showing up there as well, and maybe Amanda brought a friend along. Who knows? Who knows what was going on at the time that others were showing up, that their focal point more was in between their conversation and not so much on what we were asking.
True.
Yeah, I guess my only opinion to add to that, I guess I'm not developed enough to see every single individual spirit that's in there, but there was a lot of spirits in there, a lot of stuff coming and going, whether it was just coming up through the floor or coming down from the third floor and just seeing what's going on and going back about their business kind of a thing. I kind of felt that a little bit. Like I think I shared with George and Sharon afterward at one point at a different part of the whole thing. I actually felt this. I could feel it come up through the floor, like from my ankle to my knee to my waist to my chest to my head, and then when it left, it did the same thing. So I felt a lot of stuff kind of coming and going. So maybe, yeah, there's a lot of transient stuff there. At least that day there was, because of the broadcast. Maybe they kind of have a way of knowing that was going to happen, and people came in and checked it out.
And Matt, if you can address it, if we have time before the end of the show, after we do these clips, if we still have time, I know we've got like 3 more or 4 more left, is the exact perfect example of this from the Dual Spirit Box session, which is at the very bottom of all of our clips that are there under the RHX. It says, "Look, here comes a ghost. Why, thank you. Don't be stupid." It's 3 different spirits that are making a mockery of what it is that we're doing, sitting there going, these people are just ridiculous and silly and call us ghosts. We're not ghosts. We're people. So, there is a good aspect of being very contentious with regards to, hey, it's we're looking at it as we should be the priority, and they've got their own priorities. So I can expect that sometimes they're going to be discussing things. And again, these spirit boxes are, known to pick up energy emulations. It's not an aspect of them putting intent onto the device like a recorder. It's just picking up the waves of their communication. So if they're talking to each other and ignoring us, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Okay, well, and we will definitely get to that one. Next one on these clips is Perfect Like That. Is this when Rich was kind of coordinating people talking?
Yeah, this is still where they were trying to communicate and saying, they're not hearing us and we're not responding to them the way that they want us to. And at this point in time, it started to get better, where they're saying, okay, we're establishing it the way we're supposed to be doing it, and that's where you get this perfect like this. This is fun, is what you get.
Okay, awesome. All right, hang on, cranking it up. And again. Yep. Definitely coming through there.
Yeah.
And then, I guess related to this, they all loved us?
Yeah, I love this. Hopefully it comes across, crank it all the way up, but it's a nice statement. They all loved us. No, it's just the aspect, and I think it has to be a testimonial to the way Sharon projects this environment and the people who are still residing there, and how when people come in, she, tells him again about being very, very respectful. And there have been people such as Mark and Amy and so many of these others who have come in and helped out as volunteers. I think, again, this is their statement of how they feel about the people who come into Rolling Hills Asylum.
Okay, here we go. One more time. That's awesome.
Yes, we do.
And the last one are the clips that you have, and I have to add so far, because I know there's a lot more on this to go through yet. They are not responding. So was this at a time where you picking up?
They're not responding like they heard us, is the full one on there. In other words, that they're saying or trying or attempting to communicate across, and obviously we're not responding to their statement. Sharon's not, I'm not on the phone, Mark's not, because it's too unintelligible on that speed and in real time. And you can hear it as they are reacting to it, saying they're not responding like they heard us, meaning Sharon, Mark, George, nobody's acknowledging the statements of what we're saying. So again, there was initially early communication problems, and they were quite well aware of it intellectually. And again, what I sent you for the clips were the ones that I thought, and I only listened to it on my tiny little speaker that I have attached to my computer. I didn't want to go through the headphone part of it because you, as you said, you were subjected to today. You were listening to it on a headphone. It sounded great, and then you played it otherwise, and you were like, it's not going to run the same way. It's not going to be heard the same way. So I only picked the ones for the show that I know that people would be able to hear firsthand. And a lot of it has to do with what our complications were at the beginning of the onset of this particular session, was that we could not hear them. So their statement on this last clip here is they're not responding like they heard us, meaning us.
Okay, here we go. And again. And one more time.
Yeah, the last part's fast. They're not. I'm sorry, I cut you into.
No.
They're not responding like they heard us. I mean, the last part's fast.
Yeah, we're gonna do it one more time here.
No, we weren't. I mean, we couldn't hear them. It was terrible. You know what I'm also finding, George? That it's really interesting. When I'm right on top of the Frank's box, like within, even 3 or 4 feet of it, and my recorder is right there, sometimes, like in this particular session, it's really hard for me to decipher stuff. If I'm down the hall 25 feet, I can hear things clearly. Whereas, again, when you're recording it on your end through your phone, you'll pick up things more clearly. There's something about the distance level as well, I think, that's going on here that's making it hard when I'm right in front of them to be able to hear it. And my recorder was right smack on the box, and I don't know what's going on. I think next time we do this, I'm going to put my recorder a good 4 or 5 feet away.
Yeah, and even when we did a dual spirit box session, remember I had you put the phone down and walk 5 feet away. And we got some amazing responses there. Not to mention, what you were saying about AM being just fully static, but the first session we ever did was on AM. The second one we did was on AM with Sandy. And you actually asked in the middle of that, should I switch to FM? I said, no, stick with what they know. It's the same principle thing what I do with the Shack Hack, is utilizing only AM. I never switch to FM because it's the area that they're used to or that picks them up receptive-wise the best. And, we should have tested both of those on this one. But again,
no, there was no way to use AM. I thought my Frank box was broken. That's how bad it was. Nothing. It was like straight on, nasty, bad, horrible static. Nothing. It was just like, it was horrible. I thought it was broken. And so
we wouldn't have been able to use it at all.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. I've never had that happen.
Now, my whole, data variable hat's on here. You said the weather was weird. What exactly was going up there weather-wise?
Rainy. It was like in between days that we've been having off and on thunderstorms. It was rainy, snowy, icy, just really bad, weird weather.
And then got really bright at one point with the sun.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But that whole static thing was just, I mean, Mark was there. I mean, I literally said, oh, my God, I'm going to have to use my SP87 because I'm not going to get this to work. And then I went, well, I'll try FM. And they started coming through.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of a different...
They figured it out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to get to kind of what happened after the show ended, but I do want to quick, if I can find this clip here. Okay, here's the one that George was talking about from the dual session. So again, these are spirit or people at Rolling Hills talking, but not people that were here doing the investigation. Here comes a ghost. Why, thank you. Don't be stupid. And again.
They're so funny.
Is that more than one person?
Yeah.
It's three. It's three. He's never heard this before.
Here we
Mark,
go
you
again.
never heard this?
It's weird. I hear like one or two words well, but once we start getting into sentences on that thing, I'd have to, go back and listen to it. I feel like my recorders, one was too close and one was too far away, so I didn't get a lot of this stuff. Maybe if I go through those 2 15-minute sections again, that might benefit me to get better.
Well, this was one from an earlier time, Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this was done in 2011. First time Sharon and I did a dual spirit box session. And to set it up again, and hopefully if Matt would be so kind to play it again, what it is basically is the ghosts or the spirits or the people of Rolling Hills making fun of us as investigators, because all I could picture was two of the spirits hanging out there in the middle of the second floor hallway, leaning up against the wall with their arms folded, watching us just look like buffoons. And another one walks into the corridor from one of the rooms, and one of the ones in the hallway says, "Look, here comes a ghost." And one that walks in says, "Why, thank you." And the third one says, "Don't be stupid." And that's where it came up with three different ones, just kind of making a mockery of what it is that we do, calling themselves ghosts, because they probably think that that's the silliest word possible. They still think they're people. So if you could play it again for him, Matt, and then that format of, "Look, here comes a ghost. Why, thank you. Don't be stupid."
Here we go. I'm going to do it twice in a row.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, that is awesome. I'm going to add just one more real quick here, just again to add about, because this one still blows me away too, George. This is the one about when, again, doing the dual session, when they went back to you, what happened to those girls that were here? They went to George Lopez in Florida.
Yeah,
this again just absolutely blows me away.
I know. This is the one that I use when I do seminars. I produce this one to say, look, explain this one to me. If anything else is conjecture, this is the one that helps define it as far as I'm concerned. Still on the Frank's box, still in Rolling Hills Asylum, still on Sharon's side, but the spirits had already left. Amanda and Colette had returned to my home with Roy, definitely with Roy, but we believe also with Elizabeth and possibly Emma, who'd come back. But the spirits here who took a liking to Amanda and Colette were asking. So you hear the text of what happened. Those girls were here, and then a female spirit says they went to George Lopez in Florida.
Here we go. I'm going to play it twice in a row. All right, hang on. It's going to try it again. I don't know. Maybe the orbs have got me again. I love when this happens. All right, hang on 1 second, guys.
Refresh.
I was going to say, I need to refresh.
But in these contexts, compared to last Thursday, and Sharon could be spot on with regards to the weather part of it, but in these you can hear such more tone, gender, phonetics, the clarity to them are just absolutely amazing. And again, this was done in the evening time, too, where maybe there's a big factor to it. I mean, I was driving around today, and the majority of my regular radio stations were getting nothing but distortion. We're overcast. We had thunderstorms today, and I was getting a lot of different cutouts and static.
And nighttime, you drive around, you can get absolute total clarity. So, again, this is not an exact science. We're still trying to figure out why things happen the way they do.
All right. Well, until we get this going, because the orbs have really messed me up here. Let's start asking about. I know Mark had asked in the chat about Sharon commenting on the medium that was picking up something in the shadow hallway.
Oh, yeah, Lorna Reynolds. She came up to visit me, and we were actually in what we call the vortex room, where we think there's a vortex or a portal in there or something. There's some sort of open doorway there. People will walk in this room, and time again, I walk in, and I'll bring the group in. It's the only room, the only place in the whole building I need to lean up against the wall. So I'll lean up against the wall and say, everyone walk around the coffee table, I want you to get a feel for the room. And people say, oh, my God, I feel like it's tipping. Or, oh, my God, I'm going to vomit. I can't stay in here. Or we'll be walking down the hallway, and people have never been here before. They'll stop and they'll say, I'm not going in that room. I'm not going in that room. And it's a very benign-looking room. It's got a floor lamp, a couple of chairs, a little, turntable, stereo, and a little coffee table. I mean, it's very benign, and a rug. And time and time again, people get sick. Now, we've had experiences in there where we've tested, like, the temperature and such. The back wall will always be warmer than the inside wall, and the back wall of that room will be different temperature, warmer than the back wall of either room adjacent to it. Somebody actually had a thermal imaging camera, and it was glowing, like on a reddish-orange, yellowy scale. It's just a very strange room. Well, Laura had walked in there, and she really didn't know anything about it. I said, what do you think of this room? That's all I said, what do you think of this room? And she stood over with her back towards the back wall, and she was kind of like at an angle facing the room to like, if I'm in the hallway to my left, which would be the doll room. She said, come here, feel. And you could feel, and she's very strong, so I think she's probably pulling a lot of it out. There was like a draft coming through the cement cinder block wall. There's no way. It's an inside cinder block wall. No cracks in it, nothing. And you could actually feel almost like a draft or an energy. It was so strange. We've actually put investigators with walkie-talkies and spare boxes and things down in the floors below and staggered them and tried to send down messages like you were talking about earlier, Matt, about the ice cream. And we actually tracked the energy coming from the chapel through the card playing room through the barbershop and hooking backwards up like a backwards L. And it seems like there's a doorway or something in that room. It is the strangest room. People either like that room or they hate that room. There's like no in between.
Oh, wow. Anything else unusual happening after the Frank's Box session after they stopped recording, or anything later on that day that you would think might be related to having the session going on there?
Not really. I don't know if Scott, is he still on the phone by chance?
I believe he is. Scott, you there?
Scott?
Yep.
Yeah, do you have any comment about Thursday night when we did the Frank's Box session? Because I was getting really sick, so I'm a little out of it from that day, and I'm still sick now. But Scott was there. We were doing the one that night. After Mark and I were done, we were just done. And I didn't come back in the building until, 7:30.
Yeah, that night it was interesting. It was extremely quiet. A lot of times we're in the building, we get the extra knocks and bangs and banging and things like that, but it was really quiet. We had some flashlight activity and stuff like that, but the spirit box was a little quieter than usual, I think, that night.
Even the millimeter.
Yeah, millimeters were really quiet. There was no action of mine, so I didn't have any spikes or anything like that. So it was interesting.
Wow,
Totally
I'm
different from what it was like last year. Completely different.
Yeah.
I'm going to try this one more time because we're getting short on time here to see if the orbs will let me play this Frank's Box clip from the earlier session. That just, again, blows me away. What happened to those girls were here. They went to George Lopez in Florida. And again.
Wow.
And again, talking about, getting things coming through on this that are directly related to what you guys were actually doing. I mean, that just totally blows me away there.
It's complete validation, and there was additional validation on Thursday as well because they had the millimeters set up while we were doing this session right in front of Sharon and Mark, and it was, Sharon, correct me if I'm wrong, just absolutely spiking to the hilt while we were doing this.
It was really interesting, too, because at one point when we sent Mark upstairs, it flatlined. It completely went dead, the millimeter. And then the minute that Mark was, I could see him down the end of the hallway, we started getting activity on it again. Like, oh, he's coming back, he's coming back. It was really interesting.
And I also, after our second little stint there, I was standing in between the 2 millimeters. Sharon's was on my right, mine was on my left. And mine was kind of the 0 baseline, 0 to like a 1, 1, 2. And Sharon's was pretty much like 2 to like 8 most of the time. Because hers was a little bit farther away, so maybe they were kind of keeping at a distance and that kind of thing. At one point I did feel Elizabeth kind of walk in between me and saw it on the millimeter, and she came over and said a word. But after we were done, I had basically 0 on mine, about 2 to 2.5 on hers, which was kind of the baseline again. And it bumped up to 26, and then I could just feel something go right through me because I was literally in the straight line from point A to point B from one to the other. And it goes over to Sharon, and mine turns on and hits in the mid-20s, and then it comes back through me and goes back to hers again, which had now fallen down to 0 and bumped back up to, I think, 32. And then, boom, they were both back down to 0, and the room just felt, or the hallway just felt completely empty. So it was very cool.
Wow. Well, guys, as usual, the time goes faster than I would like here, but again, very, very fascinating stuff. My own gut feel, just from the little bit that I was able to listen to, is I think there's a ton of very interesting dialogue that got captured on Thursday, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of follow-up from that on future shows. But George, Sharon, Mark, and Scott, I want to thank you all for joining us tonight, and thank you for doing those experiments.
Thanks, everyone, for joining me on here, and Scott, and George, and Mark, and everybody, and Matt, listening to the audio and trying to do the edits. Like I said, I did it one pass. I'm going to try to put it through an audio program. With me being so sick the last 3 days, I feel really badly. I didn't pull up my end of the weight. So I appreciate all the opportunity and the support and helping out with all of this.
You sick slacker.
I am. That's horrible. There's nothing worse than a summer cold or a spring cold. It's horrible.
Well, Sharon, we will definitely have you back on soon to kind of continue this, because I think this is just fascinating, and I love kind of building upon prior work here. So I think everyone would love to hear more about what happens from this. And just so everyone knows, if you want to see it, we have we will put links. There's already links on, but I'll put another link on to the Rolling Hills Asylum page, as well as some other articles and things that Sharon has sent me is on the Sunday Night Dead Facebook page. So please look that up. It's the page, not the group. So please check that out, and we will see you all next week. John, thank you for joining me.
Bye, John.
No problem.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. See you next week.
Later.
Bye. And I'll just keep monologuing a little bit here until I get back up to my closing song.
Thanks
you get
a
to deal with
for everything.
You're welcome. All right, here we go with the song.
I'm a good guy for a gal, so won't you look my palm over? I got time for a chat, so won't you tell me my future? I'm gonna break down at 50, and I'm not quite a stallion. I'm a good guy for a gal, and I'm mentally slipping. Well, then you're down with